Hi there, everyone. My name is Gwendolyn Gabrielson, and this is me and my group's Teachback project. This is going to be for IS 335, Section 1007 for Professor Richard Young. So for our project, we decided to do sort of a financial analysis for Walmart as a company. And through that analysis, we were able to analyze Walmart's sales performance throughout the fiscal year and its strategies for optimizing costs. We were also able to show why cost optimization is crucial for a big retail giant like Walmart and what insufficient use of funds could do to the company. Also, how Walmart depends on the allocation of resources, of course, the proper allocation of resources, and just how the performance of Walmart is largely dependent on how money is spent within the company. So, next, I'm going to be moving on to a couple business problems that we have identified. So, as Walmart is one of the largest retail stores in the world, it faces the pressures of managing its supply chain, operational costs, and competitive pricing. Walmart faces challenges with managing inventory costs, reducing waste, and maintaining a competitive pricing strategy. Some of those competitors that they might struggle with maintaining a competitive pricing strategy with would definitely be Target, Costco, Kroger, Amazon, and of course that list goes on. For Walmart, obviously, we have found that cutting costs and maintaining a high profit is idealized. So that could be definitely something that would help uh, maintain their supply chain and kind of just maintain competitive pricing strategy, increase that pricing and increase their advantage over their competitors. And also, additionally, improving efficiency of the supply chain will ensure that margins stay healthy. So, as a group, we decided to go with three impacts of the business problems. So, over there on the left, starting with impact number one, we said that high operational costs can diminish profit margins and slow down the overall growth of the business. For impact number two, we said insufficient inventory and insufficient management of sales can lead to various issues, including overstocking, understocking, and pricing inefficiencies. And for our last impact, impact number three, due to a changing market, along with differing customer trends, income rates can waver. I'm going to now pass it over to my group member to go over their overview for cost optimization. Thank you.
There are a lot of factors to consider, but the main points that we want to focus on are supply chain management. We want to implement technology for inventory management heavily to make the process of ordering, storing, using, and selling to go as smoothly as possible. Partnering up with suppliers to receive discounts on bulk orders is very beneficial to us financially, as well as it would benefit them in having consistent business. This mutual benefit allows for trust and relationships to be built and longevity. Not having a clear route when it comes to transportation of supplies creates a lot of unnecessary cost in fuel and time, and we want to reduce that as much as possible. So creating an efficient route would reduce fuel costs as well as save a lot of time. We want to implement more self-service options at checkout, which would allow for labor costs to be cut and for wait times to be shorter for lines. Online sales are a huge portion of overall sales, so ensuring that the shopping experience is easy and efficient is very important. We want to invest a lot in the site to become more user-friendly and have the option to call a customer service rep that will help you place an online order through the phone. This is mainly targeted for elderly people who cannot go in stores or don't really want to navigate a website or just simply don't want to, despite how user-friendly it may be. So placing an order through the phone really allows for them to be comfortable and still get the same benefit of online ordering without the actual part of being online. With the help of BI to predict demand, overstocking and loss of inventory would be minimized. We also want to become way more environmentally friendly. This is a very huge goal of ours because we have a corporate social responsibility to the public. Investing in solar and smart HVAC allows for costs to be reduced as well as helps our planet and allows the customers to have a sense of ease with shopping with us. We want our customers to feel safe and know that their values align with ours. Marketing looks a lot different today than it did 30 years ago. So with that, we want to move away a little bit from traditional marketing and invest more in social media advertisement, since this has a lot more reach nowadays to keep up with the trends on those sites. We still will have traditional marketing in place. With the use of analytical software, it can track shipments from different suppliers that are close to each other so that we can combine shipments to reduce transportation and packaging materials. Predictive analysis can assist in analyzing trends and patterns so that we are aware of what inventory needs to be in stock during different seasons and trends. KPI also needs to be implemented to keep track of operational costs and inventory turnover. This is to keep employees motivated and align strategy with action. So, in short, our strategies include investing a lot into technology, such as AI for prediction and analysis, reducing our carbon footprint to save on utilities, as well as show the importance we have for the environment, building relationships with suppliers and the community to implement mutual beneficial agreements, and most importantly, we want to continue analyzing our data to set competitive prices so that we can evolve with the market's demands.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm tasked with doing the sales trends and the key takeaways from the presentation. The main thing we see in the 2010s sales trend from Walmart, as we can see on the left here, is that it doesn't go past 300 million sales, but it doesn't go below 160 million sales, which is a lot. But we need to keep in mind this is Walmart. They have tons of customers every year. One key thing that we can take away from this graph, aside from their steady increase throughout the year, is their large increase in the last 2 months of the year. Of course, November, you would have expected more, maybe, because of Black Friday, but perhaps people were saving money for December, which you can see a great increase in at the end of the year. And we can always just assume that this is because of the Christmas, the holidays, a lot of people wanting to spend money at the end of the year. It should also be noted that this is right after the 2008 recession. So the following years, we might see higher numbers, but this is just an explanation to a lower spending amount than the following years. And I did some outside research for the 2010 fiscal year, and economists forecasted an increase in sales within the next 2 to 6 years. That can be reflected within the next couple of years, but it's more drastic when you look at 2014, 15, 16, perhaps, maybe later, as the economy recovered fully. Uh, yeah, the next year, 2011, it's more or less the same thing. Even if you look at the numbers, it doesn't go past 300 million sales again. It doesn't go below 160 million. We see a steady increase, and we see a large peak in December. It's almost nearly identical. So, we see spikes in April, July, and maybe a small one in September. And you see another one, April, July. Not necessarily a big one over here. It's more towards October, but the trend stays the same. 2011. The average weekly sales are not as high as the previous year. As you can see, it reaches just above 180 and travels just above, we're going to say 238 million, whereas this one is just below 180 million and just below 240. So in reality, it's pretty much the same these 2 years. The trends from these 2 years alone will tell you that it's going to follow this path. They're going to start out slow in the beginning of the year, have their spikes in the middle, April and July is usually the target. And then they're going to have a large increase in sales at the end of the year in December. So two things we can take away from this is that if we want to advertise, we'd want it to be in April, July, and definitely towards November, December time. Another thing you can take away from this is the inventory. If we know we're going to have these huge sales, we're going to ship out more product, more inventory, allow for expansions towards the end of the year. That's when people are going to be shopping the most. We don't want things to go out of stock and customers to be dissatisfied. So we're going to accommodate for that accordingly. Also, during this year, I looked it up as well. Weekly sales are not as high as previous year. That's just marginally, I guess, from the beginning to the end. And in 2011, apparently they didn't have a high job growth and they had a high unemployment rate. Of course, that's not going to have a very strong correlation to weekly sales for Walmart, as people will always buy stuff from them. However, that can describe something. Now, 2012 is a year that doesn't follow the trends of the last 2 years. This is only a 3-year data set, so of course it doesn't encapsulate all of the information. We can always expand our data to the past 10 years. That would take much longer though. It would take a lot more data to observe, to analyze, to plot. But in this year, where we would usually see an increase in the last couple of years, it's actually cut off after October. I'm not sure why, but we're not seeing our usual spike in April or July. And the last 2 months that are observed here just aren't showing up, are not increasing. And although it's only a very slight increase in the weekly sales, it starts off higher than the last year. So as we can see here, just below 200 million, just above 200 million, whereas this one starts below 180 million and just below 240 million. During this time, there were spikes in weekly sales, but overall, they're not changing as much. And without the last 2 months of the year, it's hard to tell if they had that spike. And from the analysis, from the predictive models that we've made before, we can only assume that the last 2 months are going to have that increase, and we should accommodate for our inventory and marketing levels accordingly. So the key takeaways from this presentation is that our sales are obviously going to increase towards the end of the year. We're going to have a steady increase over the months. And if we use our analysis correctly, sales can increase if marketing and inventory levels are adjusted accordingly. The same thing with our inventory, like I just said about the sales. If we keep track of the inventory and manage it correctly, we won't have any stores or any locations running out of product. With our reinvestment, excuse me, with the correct understanding and implementation of predictive analytics, product profits can rise with the increase in funds from better sales and better inventory management. The company has the opportunity to expand their technology implementation, so that would better suit their employees and increase customer satisfaction. This kind of goes hand in hand with management. Of course, if you have more profits, you're going to have more money to go towards management. They're going to have more money to operate their stores and locations. And that gives them a chance to expand upon their locations. Even though Walmart has well over, I'm pretty sure, 5,000 locations in the nation, they can still expand. Moving on to operational costs, with the knowledge of the sales are going to increase. It's also important to know when to expand on supply chains and disbursement of inventory. So of course, as we've seen in the last 2 years, the beginning of the year starts off the slowest. It starts slowing down towards September, October time, we're not going to expand during these times because we don't have a lot of money coming in. If we know that the end of the year is going to be the highest point for our sales, of course, we're going to expand and market accordingly. And implementing this is very simple. In the long run of the company, excuse me, data and analytics becomes crucial to understanding the market, the fluctuations, the trends, and how to adjust to it. For Walmart to succeed, or to continue succeeding, I should say, they need to analyze and implement predictive analytics effectively. So this doesn't just mean they look at sales and adjust their inventory rates. It means they're going to have to constantly look at when people are buying the most, when people want to see, what people want to see, how to market it accordingly through advertisements or product affiliations with other companies. Walmart, one of their biggest competitors is Target, and Target has a strong marketing campaign. So I guess for them to keep in competition with them, they would need to market and advertise accordingly. And that is all. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.